How you doing? My name is Pork Chop. Now, that's not my given name. I mean, that's my given name, but not my given name by the people who give me my name. My real name, between us, confidentially, Emilio Catalancio. But see, when my grandfather, the original Emilio Catalancio, he came over here, see, they changed his name to Cantel. I got to tell you, growing up with the name Cantel, the nuns didn't like that so much. They thought I was being a wise guy. Now, I was being a wise guy, but not about that. That's just my name, Cantel. I live in this house. My father built this house after the war. He built this with his own hands, and well, he had hammers and shit, but mostly he did this by himself. He built this house. I grew up in this. My mother grew up in this. We all grew up in this. And then when they got sick of this Chicago life, when they got sick of the Cook County life, they moved down to Alabama. I got the house. When I got my Gail moved in the house with me. We had the one baby, then the other baby. They both grew up in this house. Now they're both successful adults. I still got the house. Any way you look at it, I'm a winner. Call me Pork Chop. Good to meet you. So there was this guy called Mr. Clifford. Every Sunday at church, he would hold out a nickel and a dime. And every Sunday, I took the nickel. And he would laugh and laugh. Next week, he'd hold out a nickel and a dime, and I would take the nickel. And he would laugh and laugh and laugh. This went on for weeks. Finally, one of the grannies said to me, she said, you know, the little one is worth more than the big one. I said, I know that. But he gets a kick out of this. If I pick the little one, he might stop offering. So every Sunday, these old ladies at the church, they would give us a kiss on the cheek and put a dime in our hand. And it was a manna from heaven, this dime. You got to remember, back then, a dime was a big deal to these old people who'd been through a lot and didn't have a lot of dimes to spare. They'd always give you a kiss on the cheek, and the cheek always felt like sandpaper. Except the ones that had a mustache, then it kind of tickled. This went on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we didn't care. We got a pocket full of dimes. Everybody's happy. I got my nickels from Mr. Clifford, so I'm a little ahead of the game. Then one day, we show up to church, and there's a new lady there. This lady had curves where the other ladies had straight highway. She was unbelievable. I took one look at her. My heart went right through my shirt. She was amazing. So she come to me. She puts a quarter in my hand. That's 2 bits. That's a whole quarter. She puts that in my hand. She gives me a kiss on the cheek. And this was not a sandpaper kiss. This was a lovely, juicy kiss. It lingered. I was in love. I asked my mother who this woman is, and she said, her name is Rose DeLuca. So one afternoon, I get a wild hair, and I go to Rose DeLuca's house. I knock on the door, and this kind of fat guy answers. And I said, I'm looking for Rose DeLuca. He said, who are you? I said, I'm the guy who's looking for Rose DeLuca. He said, she can't come to the door. He closed the door. I was dejected. I turned to walk away. The door opened up behind me. There was Rose DeLuca in all her radiant glory. She pressed a piece of paper into my hand. She gave me a nice, juicy kiss, and then she went back into the house. I didn't look at the paper. I knew what it was. I knew exactly what that piece of paper was. Put it in my pocket, and I ran home. I'm talking Johnny Bench. I ran home like you wouldn't believe. I get to my room. I reach into my pocket. I pull out the piece of paper. It's a dollar bill. Now, it's a great dollar bill. What 9-year-old kid doesn't want a dollar bill? But I was hoping for something a little more personal. The next Sunday, go to church, expecting my quarter and my kiss. No Rose DeLuca. The next Sunday, no Rose DeLuca. The next Sunday, no Rose DeLuca. But here's the thing. That gave me the confidence to be who I am today. That gave me the joy for that small period of time in my little 9-year-old life. Every kid needs a Rose DeLuca. So I'm sitting at work and the phone rings. I answer the phone. And the guy says, "Is this Mr. Cantel?" I said, "One of them." So, "Well, we need to talk to Mr. Cantel about his mother." I said, "What about my mother?" He said, "She's sick." I said, "She's not sick. She's old. People get old." He said, "No. Your mother's far past that. She's sick." So what do you got on your mind? She's going to be fine. She's going to be out there cooking the gnocchi in no time. He says, "Look, Mr. Cantel, your father's down here with your mother, but he's going to need some help. You got to help her put a house in order." I said, "Okay, I'll be right down." Hung up the phone. I called Gail. I said, "Gail, pick up Gail Jr. I'm going to get pork chop. We got to go to Alabama." She said, "Alabama?" I said, "I know, right? We're going to go to Birmingham. We got to see my mother." She said, "Oh, Porky." I said, "Don't worry about it. We're going to go see my mother." So I get the kids. Gail gets Gail Jr. We get to the hospital. I hate hospitals. I hate hospitals. They smell like piss and desperation. I don't want to be there. But I walk in the room and there's Ma in bed. Ma lights up. She lights up like Christmas in Alabama. And there's Pops. Pops is clutching a crucifix. His knuckles are white. He's so upset. But Ma, she just smiles. She sees me and Gail. She sees Pork Chop Jr. and Gail Jr. And you can tell she feels better. I said, "Ma." She said, "Porky." I said, "Ma, you look great." She said, "Porky, I don't look so good." I said, "But Ma, we got things to do this week. You got to come out. We got to make some pasta. We got to take care of the kids. You got to get to know your grandbabies. You never really got to know these kids. You got to get to know Gail Jr. She's brilliant. You got to get to know Pork Chop Jr. You got to spend time with these kids. You can't go anywhere right now." I look over and Pops is starting to cry. We don't cry. The Cantel men don't cry. I cried once in my life, and that was when Gail was born. And then when Pork Chop was born, so that's twice. But we're not crying people. That's not what we do. Anyway, she took me by the hand. And she said, "Porky, I love you." I said, "I love you, Ma." She said, "You're the light in my life, Porky. You've always been." I said, "Ma, we got things to do. Come on now, get up out of the bed. You look great. You're going to be fine." She said, "Porky, I'm not going to be fine. I need you to take care of your babies. I need you to take care of your dad. I need to know that you're going to be all right. I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching over you and the family forever. I need to know you're going to be all right." And then she closed her eyes. She just closed her eyes right there. I took the kids. We walked out of the room. And we walked down the hall. The only thing I hate more than hospitals is Birmingham.